I cannot teach you anything, I can only make you think. The line attributed to Socrates, I cannot teach anybody anything, I can only make them think, is one of those deceptively simple statements that exposes everything wrong with how modern societies understand knowledge, power, and truth. It is not an insult to teaching, it is a rebuke of indoctrination. Socrates lived in a time when Athens congratulated itself as the cradle of democracy, reason, and civilization. Yet he was condemned to death by that same society, not for lying, not for corruption, not for treason, but for asking questions that made powerful people uncomfortable. That alone should tell us something. Real teaching is not the transfer of information from a superior mind to an inferior one. That is conditioning. It produces obedience, not wisdom. It produces followers, not thinkers. Socrates understood something that modern institutions deliberately ignore. Truth cannot be injected into the human mind like a vaccine. It must be discovered, wrestled with, doubted, and owned. When a person arrives at an idea through thinking, it becomes part of them. When an idea is imposed, it becomes a slogan, repeated loudly, defended aggressively, but rarely understood. Authoritarian systems, corrupt democracies, captured media, and compromised intellectual circles all share one fear: independent thought. A thinker cannot be easily controlled. A thinker cannot be programmed with talking points. A thinker asks why, who benefits, and what is being hidden. This is why societies invest heavily in education systems that reward memorization over reasoning, obedience over curiosity, and credentials over insight. It is also why dissenting voices are labeled as troublemakers, conspiracy theorists, radicals, or enemies of the state. Socrates did not overthrow Athens with weapons. He destabilized it with questions. Today, the Socratic method is more relevant than ever. We live in an age of information overload and intellectual laziness. Opinions are downloaded, not examined. Allegiances are inherited, not questioned. Narratives are consumed whole, without scrutiny. People defend positions they did not reason themselves into and will never reason themselves out of. This is the true crisis of our time, not ignorance, but borrowed certainty. To think is to risk isolation. To think is to offend. To think is to realize that some of what you were taught was designed to serve interests, not truth. Socrates paid with his life for refusing to stop asking questions. His death was not a failure of philosophy, it was an exposure of hypocrisy. A society that claims to value freedom but cannot tolerate thinking is already intellectually bankrupt. Socrates was not saying, I know nothing. He was saying, I will not lie to you by pretending I can think for you. And that is the highest respect one mind can offer another. The task of the honest thinker is not to instruct the world, but to disturb it gently, persistently, relentlessly, until people begin to ask their own questions. Because once a person starts thinking, control ends. And that, more than anything else, is why Socrates still matters. Please visit my website at www.oblongmedia.net for more articles and in-depth analysis on a broad array of issues. Thank you.